They called him the calm consigliere, but insiders swear Jerry Adler's private journal paints him as the most calculating puppet master on Broadway and in Tony Soprano's back room. Brooklyn, 1929. Jerry's first crib was practically the orchestra pit. His father, Philip Adler, managed smash hits like Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. So baby Jerry grew up crawling beneath velvet curtains while legends belted showtunes overhead. By 21, he'd already ducked out of Syracuse University, literally ditching class, when Dad phoned to say, "Kid, an assistant stage manager slot just opened." Jerry later cracked, "I'm a creature of nepotism." Half boast, half confession, that Broadway still quotes whenever a director's nephew lands a starring role. But fans suspect the quip masked a ruthless streak. Unconfirmed whispers say young Adler kept a secret out-nepotize list, jotting down every peer who chalked his rise up to Daddy's Rolodex. One former stagehand claims the list ran for 3 dog-eared pages, top name allegedly a budding producer called Harold Hal Prince. Did Jerry really plot to leapfrog the future king of musical theater? No receipts, but the shade alone is chef's kiss drama. What is documented, Jerry graduated from fetching coffee to running entire productions before he could legally rent a car. Playbill archives show him wrangling chorus lines for the original My Fair Lady in '56, then juggling props on revivals of Thee I Sing, and an infamously chaotic Hell's a Poppin' reboot that would later explode into scandal. Colleagues remember a baby-faced manager who hid steel nerves behind a polite smile. Just sweet enough to charm union grips, yet sharp enough to ice anyone who missed a cue. He'd correct you in a whisper that felt like a gunshot, recalls one retired lighting tech in a Reddit AMA last year. And here's where it gets juicier. Allegedly, Jerry logged every favor, backstage passes, quiet pay bumps, casting nudges. In a leather diary, he guarded tighter than Tony guarded his cash run. Rumor has it he'd thumb through those pages at the end of each run, balancing debts like a mob accountant. Some say that same diary is now locked in an estate safe, waiting to detonate Emmy-winning friendships the minute it hits auction. Even Jerry's lineage reads like a theatrical dynasty. His great-uncle was Yiddish stage legend Jacob Pavlovich Adler, meaning Stella Adler, the acting coach who molded Brando, was essentially extended family. Translation? Jerry grew up fluent in both Shakespeare and showbiz politics. Friends claim he played the long game, banking relationships until the perfect role came knocking, decades later. But that's not even half of it. Flash forward to 1976, and Broadway was about to learn that polite little Jerry could throw a stage door punch without ever raising his voice. The producers of Hell's a Poppin', a revival already cursed by runaway budgets and rewrites, called him in to steady the ship. Sounds simple, right? Except the star was Jerry Lewis, a slapstick hurricane who reportedly rewrote sight gags between takes and demanded cue cards for punchlines he'd penned that morning. Opening night chaos was so intense, stagehands nicknamed the show Hell's a Poppin' Off. According to an unconfirmed Grip account, Adler cornered Lewis backstage and laid down the law in 6 icy words. The jokes land where the curtain does. Lewis allegedly shot back something unprintable, but the curtain rose on time. Thanks to a last-minute lighting change, Adler slipped in to mask a missing prop. But wait, the reviews tanked anyway. Critics called it a comedic shipwreck. Yet, weirdly, Adler walked away with Hollywood phone numbers a mile long. Rumor says casting directors admired how he tamed Lewis's tornado energy, labeling him the actor whisperer. One producer allegedly handed him a card saying, "If you can handle Martin and Lewis drama, kid, you can handle TV." Adler's friends claim that moment flicked a switch. Why stage manage divas when you can steal their close-ups? So Jerry traded blocking tape for headshots, enrolling in late-night acting classes taught by none other than his distant cousin, Stella Adler. The irony? She critiqued his first monologue as all brain, no blood, pushing him to mine his secret grudges for fuel. To the glow-up. Within a year, he'd booked tiny on-screen cameos, rabbi roles, cranky grandpas, the odd, uptight professor, stacking SAG credits the way he once stacked prop lists. Fans suspect Jerry worked those on-set favors like chess pieces, gifting stage passes to assistant directors who later slid his headshot across bigger desks. Some say that's when the leather diary re-emerged. Every time he scored a gig, He'd ink a name in the ode column. One legendary blind item claims he even scored a cameo for a struggling buddy by whispering, "Remember that favor I logged on page 47? Was it myth? Maybe. But the favors kept flowing, until a certain HBO pilot about a New Jersey mob boss needed a consigliere who could silence a room with a single eyebrow raise. And then, the internet exploded. Tony Soprano wasn't the only mastermind running New Jersey. When David Chase summoned Jerry for a hush-hush read-through of his mob pilot, rumor says the invite labeled him for a cranky uncle. Jerry flipped to page 1. F-bombs flew like confetti, and supposedly muttered, "I'll pass on the profanity parade, thank you." Without missing a beat, Chase slid him a different packet. An old-school loan shark named Herman Hesh Rabkin. The role needed gravitas, street smarts, and a poker-face grin that screamed, "I know where the bodies are," literally. Jerry signed on the spot. Filming the first season felt like a back-alley wager. Day players whispered about paychecks so small they couldn't cover catering, while top dogs cashed checks big enough to buy shore houses. Insiders hint that Gandolfini, always the on-set teddy bear, noticed the gap, and that it was Adler who proposed a fix. Allegedly, the two veterans called a secret meeting in the craft service trailer, scribbled numbers on a napkin, and agreed to covertly top up background actors' envelopes from their own pockets. The official line? "We're all family here." The unofficial? "Loyal soldiers keep the family safe." Some say those mystery bonuses totaled 6 figures by season 3. Others swear it's just fan fiction. Either way, morale soared, and the crew nicknamed Adler Uncle Payday behind his back. But Jerry wasn't done playing chess. Fans point to episode "A Hit is a Hit," where Hesh schools Tony on music royalties, and notice Adler slips a tiny gold toothpick between takes. A silent nod to real-life record exec Morris Levy, rumored mob affiliate. That prop? Never in the script. Jerry allegedly fought for it as character backstory, but Reddit sleuths believed the toothpick was a wink to the pay gap scheme, like he was telling viewers, "I collect my royalties my way." HBO never commented, but the YouTube clip racks up conspiracy views to this day. Hold up, because it gets even deeper. During hiatus, Adler ghost wrote a pilot treatment about aging wise guys running a nursing home betting ring. Industry pals claimed the pitch landed on Netflix desks, but died when Sopranos Season 4 blew up. Some blame rights conflicts. Others whisper a bigger star felt threatened by Jerry's creative leverage and torpedoed the deal. The diary allegedly devotes an entire chapter to Project Old Bones, Killed by Ego. If that document surfaces, expect streaming wars to reignite. Not everything was mob drama and movie cash, though. Off-camera, Adler co-produced New York's annual Yiddish Theater Gala, funneling Sopranos' clout into a cultural passion project. He'd show up in a velvet kippah, schmooze donors, then disappear before the final bow, guarding anonymity the way Hesh guarded spoils. Yet even the gala wasn't safe from gossip. Unconfirmed whispers describe a backstage tussle over donor credit, ending with Jerry flashing a grin and quipping, "Gentlemen, my family's been doing this since Jacob Adler. Let's not rewrite lineage tonight." And that was the end of that argument. Fans love to peg The Sopranos as Jerry's career peak, but insiders insist it was merely Act 2 of a longer hustle. Because the moment the series wrapped, CBS came knocking, and Adler was about to flip network television on its polished head. You're not ready for what came next. When Jerry Adler stepped onto The Good Wife set, producers expected a 1-episode cameo. Instead, he hijacked the script. Day 1, Christine Baranski riffed a line about his character's dusty law books. Adler shot back with an off-the-cuff, "Better than your slick billable hours," and the crew lost it. Showrunners rewound the tape, kept the burn, and overnight rewrote Howard Lyman into a recurring, chaos-friendly foil. Ratings ticked up. Twitter threads cheered the mumbling legend. Insiders hint Adler negotiated a quiet clause. Every time Lyman returned, a local theater nonprofit got a CBS donation. No press release, just a stealthy power move that kept his name angelic while the character stayed deliciously petty. Yet behind that halo, the Old Bones nursing home pitch still haunted him. Unconfirmed sources claim Netflix revived talks in 2022, dangling a limited series deal. Contracts nearly inked until a rival streamer threatened to sue over concept overlap. Some say Adler's estate attorney has the abandoned scripts tucked beside that infamous leather diary. If both hit auction together, expect a bidding war nastier than a Jersey turf battle. In early 2024, Jerry dropped Too Funny for Words, a memoir that teased scandals only to swerve into punchline humility. Readers loved it. Reporters wanted more. They didn't get it. 2 missing chapters sparked Reddit conspiracies. One allegedly unpacked a mid-90s backstage affair with a Tony-winning actress. The other dissected a scrapped guest arc on Transparent that vanished amid creative differences. Lawyers stayed quiet. Fans zoomed in on telltale blank pages. And Adler laughed it off on late-night TV. A good magician never shows every trick. But wait, in the weeks before his death, he told a podcast host, "My best stories, locked in a box. Let 'em fight over it when I'm gone." That interview never aired. The host claims network execs got spooked by unverified legal landmines. August 23, 2025, the curtain fell. Obituaries praised the Broadway veteran who became TV's favorite consigliere. What they skipped. A sealed safe, reportedly holding those diaries, Netflix contracts, and a handwritten ledger of debts. Names highlighted in Mob Movie Red. Estate insiders whisper that multiple studios, 2 biographers, and at least 1 disgruntled former co-star have already filed legal motions for access. If the seal breaks, every favor, feud, and hush-hush payout from 6 decades of showbiz could flood daylight, and Hesh Radkin might look like a choir boy. Which leaves us here. Was Jerry Adler the quiet guardian of New York theater, or the grand architect of Hollywood IOUs? Did he bankroll underdogs out of loyalty, or to keep the scoreboard tilted in his favor? Drop your hottest theory below. And remember, on Icons Never Die, the legends don't fade, they reload. Hit subscribe, ring that bell, and stick around, because the next secret waiting to surface could rewrite your favorite show's origin story.